I recently started playing Noita again, and I remember why I was so obsessed with it. Do you remember those falling sand physics games? You know, the ones you could download on an iPad Touch or a really early iPhone? I'm dating myself already, aren't I? Basically, they were games that let you play with particle physics. Super fun, super engaging, but I always wanted more out of them. Watching sand and gravel fall and create weird patterns is fun, but there's definitely potential for more there. For any younger viewers, I promise this was a thing. So I don't find it too surprising that some Finnish mad lads finally got the thought, what if we took this and made it an alchemy-based roguelike? And just like real alchemy, this game is layered. So much so that I'm not sure I believe we've even found the true bottom of the iceberg. Today, I want to peel back a few of those layers and see if we can't gain some understanding of the wild and secretly terrifying ride of Noita. Noita, which is Finnish for witch, was developed by Nola Games, which is Finnish for crazy people. You've probably seen one or two of the founders' games, one having developed Baba Is You, and another one, The Swapper. Originally released in early access in late 2019, it would have its full release in 2020, about a year and a month after it was made playable to the public. But this game is massive, like shockingly, almost unfathomably huge. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. To continue to contribute to the game's massive size and eldritch insanity, several major updates were added throughout the course of the game's development time, with the last major update being added to the game in 2024. Okay, so I've hit you with a lot. The game is huge, contains magic, and was inspired by falling sand games that were at the height of their popularity over a decade ago, but still remained obscure. Easy does it now, baby. This is all just the surface layer. We ain't to the meat of it yet. So what does a game of this Finnish phenomenon look like? The start of every new run starts you at the mouth of a cave, which is at the base of a large mountain. You get randomized wands, one having a basic offensive spell, the other having some sort of explosive. You're this little witch here, except this one can fly without a broomstick. Anytime a new player starts their first run, the instinct is to go into this cave. It's where the game leads you, so let's see what's inside. Too late to back out of this? The goal of each level is to explore, collect gold, new wands, or any other potions or artifacts you can find as you descend further and further into the pit beneath this mountain. Between each level, you'll come to a checkpoint called a holy mountain, where you'll get a health up and spell refresher. This is where you'll be able to spend any gold that you acquired from previous levels, either via mining or picking up nuggets off of fallen enemies. You'll either have the option to buy new wands or individual spells, but not both in the same holy mountain. More on the wand crafting later. That gets a bit layered. While doing this, you'll also need to navigate the unspeakable horrors that want to rip your throat out of your ass. Unspeakable mainly because they've all got Finnish names. In true fashion, you start off with creatures that resemble zombies, angry mine employees, and spewter. But the deeper you go, the more sophisticated the enemy technology becomes, and the weirder the enemies are in general. Same with the environments themselves. What's cool is that some levels have additional biomes hidden within them, and can have some cool things and new enemies for you to find. I'm telling ya, it's all layers. Too bad this is all the biomes this game has to offer though. I would have loved to have seen more. But not only do the monsters here want you dead, the very world around you can quickly become an overwhelming obstacle. This game's tagline states that every pixel in Noita is simulated. Mechanically speaking, this means that every particle will behave like it's supposed to. Water and other less viscous liquids like blood move around, spill, and pool up in places in reservoirs. Note to self, Blood Reservoir. Great name for a death metal album. That also means that dirt and stone are breakable, and having mining spells are always good utility no matter how deep beneath the mountain you make it. Metal is sturdy and can't be broken by normal means. Acid can make quick work of it though, and just about everything else for that matter. And fire spreads, but not when it's cold. Don't freeze to death. This is where the game takes direct inspiration from those old falling sand games. You've got all of these elements to play with, and they all interact with each other in unique ways, and it's fun to watch things blow up. Now, taking this all into account, and the fact that this game is randomly generated, and the fact that things are still still occurring in places you haven't visited yet, it is not hard to see how this game can very quickly spiral out of control. This lit lantern gets knocked down and breaks onto a wood surface. Now the wood's on fire. Now any enemies around are also on fire, and they will spread it to the rest of the level. Now you are on fire. Somewhere in the dark of the mine that you haven't visited, a vat of toxic sludge has ruptured and you're slowly being dissolved all the way down as it drips on you. This game is hard, and about 50 to 60% of the time you die, it's to some really unfair bullshit. You are going to die and die and die again. But there's a draw to this game that goes beyond just gameplay elements. True to form, this game's hold on my brain is so strong that I would almost call it magical. When I picked it up again, I started dreaming about it. Then I began to remember some of the lore and secrets you can find, and it honestly made me remember, this game scares me. This game scares the living shit out of me. So let's talk about a layer of Noita that isn't terrifying, the wand building. I mentioned it briefly before, but the spell crafting and wand building mechanics are massively integral to the gameplay of Noita. Every wand that you pick up comes with predetermined stats, things like mana, cast time, and how long it takes each wand to recharge its mana pool. Wands will have varying numbers of slots on them, and this is where you'll be putting in any excess spells you've picked up while playing. It's important to keep your wands and spells up to date. The more broken, the better. Believe me, you want something that's unfair. As such, if you want to make any sort of meaningful progress in Noita, you're gonna have to figure out the wand building. But Krypton, I hear you say. If you can pick up and buy new wands, surely they must get better and better the further you go down. Why can't you just do that? First of all, great question. Love that attitude. Have you subscribed? You should subscribe. We value those kinds of questions around here. Yes, wands will generally have better spells the deeper you go down, and stores will also have better spells for sale. Just make sure you have enough. But since it's all randomized, it doesn't mean that every wand you find is going to be viable. You might find a wand that has some very powerful spells and some modifiers that make them even more powerful and shoot all at once. But if you don't know what you're doing and don't pay attention to that one modifier at the front of the wand, you won't realize until it's much too late that spell is getting shot backwards right at you. Or you might not realize that the crossbeam spell isn't a projectile and will start to fire right where you place it. But once you get it and you figure out that if you drop a spell with a trigger right before a spell that isn't a projectile, that spell then gets immediately cast upon that spell's collision, well then buddy, you're in business. I'm not going to sit here and give you an in-depth wand building guide because I'm not qualified in the slightest to. Honestly, if the Noita authorities knew I told you this much, they'd be all over my ass because I'm just a local idiot. But it is an integral part of playing the game, and it just wouldn't be right to not talk about it. Plus, I really didn't want to talk about the scary stuff, but now I guess I'm out of things to say and I gotta. This is me getting soft-locked because I went down a secret path and the world generated a snowy, so the water that I swam through to enter the tunnel was unpassably frozen. Just thought I'd share. Okay, remember how all the way back near the start of the video, how I mentioned that a new player's first reaction was to descend into the cave and then proceeded to talk about the game as if it was all contained within that cave under the mountain? Yeah, no. There is nothing stopping you from not entering the cave. In fact, the majority of this game is not in the cave. You can go left and find a giant tree with more to explore if you can manage to get past it. You can also go over the mountain. Both of these directions lead to multiple dungeons and biomes that descend multiple stages and continue to vary as they go down. Now, also, keep in mind the alchemical principle of as above, so below. There is also an entire map in the sky. The thing that is presented as the main game, the thing that is the main game, is a literal fraction of the entire world map. In fact, part of navigating this world is making your way back up through the cave system after you beat the boss at the end. If you want to see the true ending of the game, you'll need to travel all around the world and collect 11 orbs of knowledge, most of which are not easy to come by. All on one life, by the way. I'm sorry, but I just don't have much footage of this. But let me show you something cool. Take a look at this. This is a handy and necessary necessary if you want to see the entirety of the game map on noitamap.com. Now, of course, every seed is randomly generated, but this is in general what every Noita seed will resemble. Right there is where I'd say the vast majority of gameplay has taken place. This is the section of the map where I'd say about 95% of players spend the majority of the time. All of this is the rest of the fucking game. I don't even know what the majority of the game looks like. I have no footage of it because I'm not nearly good enough to get there. Oh yeah, and I'm sure you noticed, it looks like 3 map seeds were generated for this one image. Buddy, pal, this is one seed, one map. If you go far enough on either side and manage to break through the nearly impenetrable wall of rock, there's a whole other parallel world that is almost identical to the main world. Same map size, different variations with wand and buff spawns, and a few map markers aren't there. And guess what? At the far end of those, another world to go to. I'm not sure they actually have an end. The very world is generated in a layered way. There's really no need to ever do this, unless you're in New Game Plus, and I just lied to you. The real true ending of the game can only be achieved by playing on New Game Plus, where it is required that you hunt down 33 orbs of true knowledge, one of which is located in the eastern parallel world, the other in the western. I truly don't understand how anyone could be crazy enough to do this. I haven't even touched on the alchemy system itself. You can mix so many things together to produce different results, and there's a ton of interaction between elements. You can also create specific alchemical concoctions that are randomized each seed and can require any combination of any liquid in the game to create. I'm really not sure how you could figure that out without mods. Oh yeah, this game has a ton of mods. The modders for this game are very dedicated and still update the community with new things to download all the time. Most of them are to make the game easier. Hey, as an aside, download the mod that lets you edit your wands anywhere. I can honestly say that alone completely changed the game in a great way for me. On top of all of that, there are hidden messages scattered around the world that need to be deciphered to understand. They range from random graffiti to messages from some unknown entity that claims to be in control of your every action. Some of these messages allude to your task and what you're doing, but they seem to come from a voice of scarily cosmic authority.
You gave your free will to the true God. Why else would you be here? Why else would you be reading this? We wanted you to come here. We wanted you to read this. You think you have free will? We made you come here. We made you read this.
I could not find an interpretation of these. There are also tablets that you can find that contain a good dose of esoteric mumbo-jumbo that are references to real-life alchemy. If you know anything about it at all, I'm sure you'll recognize a lot of the concepts that Noita presents. Speaking of lore, the entire backstory of the world is told in translatable runes, though unfortunately it raises more questions than it answers. But wait, there's more translatable messages, except these haven't been solved yet. Hidden around the game are 9 encrypted messages present in the forms of these glyphs. To this day, not a single one has been deciphered, and it doesn't look like they're any closer now than when they started. Not only that, they're somehow tied to a room called the Cauldron Room that has no known purpose and only spawns if no mods are enabled. There's just so much esoteric, hidden knowledge in this game. So much so that a dedicated fanbase of people haven't been able to decipher the full meaning of it all in the slightest. I've said multiple times that this game has layers. It's probably become a meaningless word to you by now. But one thing I really want to stress is how important layers upon layers of obscure meaning are to the practice of alchemy. 13th and 14th century alchemists viewed whatever knowledge they possessed as secret and not some flippant tee-hee I'll never tell nonsense. This was like serious business to them. They truly believed that it was dangerous for their knowledge to be conveyed to the masses at large, so only those who were worthy, learned, and smart enough to access that knowledge could access that knowledge. Fucking, this is right in the game itself.
The necessity of concealing the art is one of the chief anxieties of alchemists. We are sworn to secrecy by heaven and earth and hell, by the 4 elements, by the height and the depth, by Hermes, by Anubis, and by the howlings of Kerberos. An oath has been required of us to reveal nothing clearly to any uninitiated being.
If you pay attention, it's telling you everything you need to decipher the meaning, but it's not going going to be an easy task. Because buddy, you've got a ton of layers to peel back. It's like an onion. Many, many layers, and at the center of it, more mystery, more onion. But you keep pulling back those layers, hoping to find more, hoping to find something that's going to lead you to the right place. That's why I think a good title for Noita is The Onion of Intrigue. You don't know what you'll find at the center, and likely will never know that you've even made it to the center, because it might look like more onion, another layer, but you don't even know the question that Noita is providing the answer to. For a game that is based on something as mysterious as alchemy, it makes sense that interpreting what the game presents you is a nearly impossible task. Like grimoires written by the real alchemists hundreds of years ago, the messages might be hidden behind so many layers of obscurity that it only makes sense to the creator of the narrative. Noita is a true art piece in that sense. It explores a concept and then solely in and of itself becomes an example of the thing it's exploring, without feeling forced or like the same cheap ARG you've seen 1,000 times. It's great, and I think people are going to be pondering over the mysteries of Noita for a long time to come before anybody has any idea what the it all means. So that's what I mean when I say that this game terrifies me. Like a real alchemical allegory, what presents itself as something straightforward and known is actually hiding a message deep beneath layer upon layer of metaphor, allegory, and obscure reference. What the is that message supposed to be? I don't know, and I'm terrified to know what it is, but holy shit, do I want to know. I want to know real bad. I know for a fact I will never, ever see the final end to this game and everything it has to offer. And I'm okay with that because I'm not a crazy person. But if you are a crazy person who has done this, or at least some of the outlandish things present in this game, please let me know in the comments. And if you haven't, tell me the craziest way you lost a run. I need to feel someone else's pain. Also, remember to leave a like if you liked the video, and if you made it this far, I think you liked it at least a little. Please subscribe. This game has absolutely whittled away my sanity, and I don't think the dreams are going to be stopping anytime soon. Your subscription makes my insanity worth it. I'm completely blown away by the growth of the channel last year, and thanks to all of you, I not only beat my goal of 500 subs by the end of the year by about 300 subscribers, I hit over 1,000 just a couple days into 2026. I couldn't have done it without all of you, so make sure you're subscribed to stay on the journey. I want to see how quick I can hit the next 1,000 and go from there. All that said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Can go play some more Noita.